Hello, my beautiful Cup of Christ fam. I am back. Oh, it feels like forever since I made a video. Actually, it has been forever. Thank you guys so much for understanding about last week. It honestly was hectic. Family matters, and then on top of that, I put my application in for school. So it's honestly has just been one thing on top of another. So this whole weekend I've just been kind of relaxing and trying to recoup because I haven't even gotten a good amount of sleep. But I thank you guys so much for your understanding. You guys are the best. So I also, in all of this chaos, I have started a small little Bible study with a couple of friends. And as we're going through the study, I thought, why not do the study with you guys? So I'm just really actually going to talk about what we talk about, and there's so much involved, and that's why I want to divide it into 2 or 3 videos. But what we're talking about is that big C word, conflict. Oh my gosh, just even hearing that word, just my stomach is in knots. When I started this study, I realized as humans, we are drawn to relationships. It doesn't matter whether it be friendships, whether it be, parental relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with our coworkers. We are surrounded by it. It's just something that no matter how much, like, I'm an introvert and I would prefer to stay indoors, read books, in my bed with my music playing and just shut off, and that would be perfect for me. But of course that won't pay the bills. So I know that eventually I will have to leave my room. I will have to interact with my parents, my friends, my coworkers, my managers. And so no matter where we are in life, no matter what kind of person we are, we will always, in my opinion, I believe we will always deeply desire that kind of relationship, that kind of connection with people. I know this is probably not a really good character trait, but I am the type of person that I want people around me to feel happy or to feel comfortable. I'm overly enthusiastic sometimes, just because I want people to feel comfortable and I want people to feel like themselves. But sometimes I think I'm too much and people think it's fake, and so, all of that. But it's not that. It's really, I just want people to feel comfortable and to feel like they can be themselves with me. So in my perfect little world, for me, I would be in harmony with everybody, and everything would be perfect and fine and wonderful, and the sun would always be shining and everybody would always be happy. But reality says that there will always be conflict. Why? Because we are all human. We are imperfect, and out of that will always become conflict. There will always be conflict between us, especially because we're so imperfect. When we don't see eye to eye with somebody, it creates that tension and there creates conflict. Now, during my study, I found that conflict isn't always bad. There actually is such thing as healthy conflict. In fact, when you have healthy conflict, it forms healthy relationships. And that's something we are going to discuss later on, but I'm talking about the bad conflict, the unhealthy conflict. When it is not resolved, when there are issues that are not talked about, that are not discussed with certain people, when you have that conflict, it kind of grows, and I like to think of it like a spiritual cancer. It slowly start to infect our relationships, and not just with people around us, but our relationship with the Lord. As we were studying more and more on this, we started talking about, why do we fear conflict? There are so many reasons why. And one of the reasons why I think we fear conflict is because, well, for starters, it makes us uncomfortable. I mean, that is like the main reason why we hate conflict, because when you get an argument with somebody, it just makes things awkward. For example, as I'm growing up, I'm realizing there's a lot of things that I don't agree with my parents on. And as much as I wish I could agree with them and we were in harmony, there are some things that with the way they see things, I just don't agree with. And unfortunately, because sometimes I can be a hothead, I get that both my parents, we tend to be hot-headed. We tend to have arguments. We tend to not resolve things. And I know that and so sometimes when we have arguments, the air is just awkward. I mean, I walk around and I see them and I'm just like, oh, I'm still mad at them, but I don't know what to say. And it's just so, it's just so uncomfortable. You know, and it isn't until we finally say, hey, look, let's talk this out. Let's try to resolve this. It's not until we do that until that moment, even if, you know, because I'm the type of person that I don't hold a grudge. So sometimes I'll sit and then I'll try to make light of the situation, but it's still there. It isn't until we actually sit down, talk about it, and resolve it that the air gets cleared and everything goes back to normal. And that's one of the reasons why it is so hard. And I think that's why we are afraid sometimes to actually address the conflict, because it's just plain uncomfortable. Another thing that I have found too, that conflict makes me feel like I'm not in control of the situation. When I can't be in control of the conversation or the situation, I just try to, you know, brush it under the rug or ignore it, because it's something that I can't face. It's something that I can't address at that moment. In fact, that's probably why for me sometimes, which is a bad habit, I have found that I prefer to text things rather than talk on the phone or talk in person, because I can't, for me, if I'm texting, then I control the situation. I can control what I'm saying, you know. And it's not bad to text things, but when it becomes actual certain situations and deep, really serious issues, you can't text things. What I've been learning to do is when I'm upset or when something happens, I take a step back, and then I come into my room and I have a little notebook that I write down all of my feelings, what I am feeling, what's everything that's going on, and I just write what I'm thinking all down. And then I breathe and I take a minute or two. You know, like sometimes I walk around my room, like I do like little circles around my room. I go back, my head's a little more clear, I write down what I'm feeling. Then I take another step back, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe I go get some water, whatever. Come back, rewrite everything until I'm able to express, until I'm able to say, okay, now that I've written everything down, I have the words down, it's easier for me to address the situation. So that might be something else also that why we fear conflict, is because we cannot, it shows us that we are not in control of the situation. The thing that we found that if we don't resolve conflict, it is actually disobeying God's word. If you don't believe me, Romans 13:18 says, do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Everybody knows that verse, but you know, we all know that there is no way we can ever live in peace and harmony with everybody. But I think in one of the versions it says, do all that you can on your part. If there is a situation that has happened with a certain relationship, if you've had a falling out with your parents, your friends, you know, with your significant other, with your coworkers, if you have not tried to resolve that, then you are actually disobeying God's word. And I know that was a lot to take in, but the word tells us we have to try our best to live at peace with everybody. So it is hard, definitely, but now that we know why we fear conflict, that's our first step to overcoming it. Now we can face it. Now we can see it from a different perspective, so to speak. If there is conflict that you're worrying about and you don't know what to do, definitely pray about it. Ask the Lord to give you the wisdom, give you His view on things when there's conflict in your life. And sometimes we don't want to address the conflict because we know we're wrong. That is so hard to admit that we were actually wrong in certain situations. But ask the Lord to humble you, to show you so that you can grow. That's the beautiful thing about healthy conflict. But again, we will discuss that later. Next week, we are going to be discussing about how conflict affects your relationship with the Lord. So if you want to hear about that, definitely tune in next Monday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I appreciate you guys understanding, your patience. You all are amazing, and keep praying for me, guys. There have been a lot of things that have been coming up, but I know God is in control, and I love you guys for your prayers. And as always, if you need prayers, definitely send them my way. I've got you all, and you guys are my family. I'm always praying for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week and be safe out there. God bless you.